Welcome, everyone, to the Woodshed, East Lansing, Michigan. Spartan Stadium on the banks of the Red Cedar and home to Michigan State. As we'll see a squad from the Big Ten, the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, taking on a squad hoping to prevent another L this week, the Michigan State Spartans. For EA Sports College Football, I'm Reese Davis, here with and the Scarlet Knights will boot it away to start the game. And it'll be a touchback. The ball will come out to the 25-yard line. So Michigan State's offense will go on the attack first. And for their sake, they better hope they've solved some of the turnover and protection issues that just plagued them in a nightmare of a game last week, David.
It was not a good performance. And this offense has got to grow. It's got to get better. And they've got to find some ways to move the football. They've got to throw the football, but we can't turn it over. Just those are the critical mistakes. More games are lost than won. And last week, too many turnovers for this quarterback.
Well, they just had too many negative plays and too many turnovers in that game to win. They believe they've got the dudes offensively to win games so long as they stay on schedule. Going backwards, and you're giving the offense on the other side more possessions because you turn it over, that's a recipe for disaster, and that's something they have to be able to avoid in this game.
That's caught. It's Darden. They stop him almost immediately. Short gain there, and still a little ground to cover to pick up the first. Off play action. Good quickness to grab it off the deflection. They've got it inside the 30. They'll mark it at the 28. It's first down.
Really nice job on that throw, just giving his guy an opportunity to catch the ball. It kind of reminds me about Bill Burke, a guy I played against back in the Citrus Bowl when I was playing. He was throwing to Plaxico Burress, and he just kept putting the football in Plax's range, and we just couldn't stop the two of them. They went up and down the field on us all day long throwing it. If you just give your guy a chance like he did right there, I don't know if this defense can stop them.
The Spartans moving quickly to the line. He wants to throw it again. Gets it out fast. And they get to him and knock him down to prevent a bigger gain. And the Spartans can play this second down a lot of ways with just a few yards to go. Rides the back on the option to give. He was running through tackles and picked up the first down and finally got knocked down. Wants to throw on first down off the play fake. Quarterback feeling the pressure, and down he goes at the 22.
And they get to the quarterback and get the sack. That's a big emphasis for this defense. They saw a week ago, this offense gave up 3 sacks. They need to get to him early and often and create some indecision. Nice job getting a sack early in this football.
Stopped at the 13-yard line as the drive continues. They've got to come up with a big play on this 3rd and long. He'll try it again. He's all the way down to the 3. An electric run has him set up. The Spartans trying to cash it in on 1st and goal. Trying to punch it in. And he takes it in for the score. Touchdown, Michigan State.
You love as a head coach to watch your offense take the field and establish a rhythm and consistency the way they did there. Everything they dialed up was working to perfection. They go 10 plays on the opening drive and cap it off with a touchdown.
They get set for the point after as we have the first score of the game. And the extra point makes it 7-0. They put together an 81-yard drive. Kickoff unit is out there again, and this crowd is feeling themselves after that last drive. Looking for an alley from inside his own 10. Just never had a chance to shake loose, and he'll be brought down at the 24. The Scarlet Knights offense will go to work for the first time. Every team has impact players. What traits are you looking for when it comes to players who can make an impact, David?
Well, obviously, you want the main things, right? Speed, physicality, like all power. All those things are really, really good, but you also need...
And he will get home, and the quarterback goes down at the 17.
What an effort getting to the quarterback there. You think about Michigan State D-line, Jarrell Worthy, Shalik Calhoun, guys that would use their frame to their advantage, and you just could not block them. This guy has physical ability. He's got a lot of things you can't coach. One of those is that frame, and he used it right there to his advantage.
This crowd, full throat, splitting the eardrums and letting him know it's going to be a long day. This junior making his presence felt and making the stop after a short gain. Sparty and nearly 75,000 of his closest friends pegging the decibel meter on third down. Fires to the tight end. And that had all the makings of bug-meat windshield, but how about the move? Warner taking on the big tight end and keeping him from getting the first. They kick it away on fourth down. And the punt team able to sling him to the ground. The Spartans have it back on offense, hoping to play some good ball. Looking to throw on first down. Get it out on the screen. Already a solid start to this one. Now back to work with this 7-0 lead. Great pickup as they'll keep this drive moving, and they've got it at the 45. From the shotgun, the inside give. Able to scrounge 3 yards out of that one somehow. It's 2nd and 7. They'll run play action. Quickly out to the tight end. They make the stop, trying to pick up just a little bit at a time to get to that first down marker. They'll try to get it through the air. Now he's going to send this one deep to the right. And trying to put points on the board on third down. Now they're staring at fourth down. And the Spartans will call on their punt team. He ought to be able to use this first punt to pin them deep. And you just won't see a more effective punt than that. Out of bounds inside the 5-yard line. They'll ride the running back and leave it with him. And he was greeted by a host of defenders and barely gets it back to the line of scrimmage. They'll go to work in the air on second down. Grabbed in the middle. It's Finley. He's brought down quickly. Minimal gain there. Still a bit short of the first down. Grabbed in the backfield. It's Ingram. Turning it on. All down, but he has enough to move the chains. The Scarlet Knights have it with a 1st and 10. Lost a throw on first down. And his throw is incomplete. So now it's 2nd and long. From the gun, the running back looking for room.
Keep pounding away at this defense and make them play the run. If you can get this many a chunk, they're going to have to commit more guys to the box, more guys to the run. Then you open it up for the passing game.
Makes it past the marker. And the Scarlet Knights are on the move. Looking to throw on first down. It's complete on the right side. And just a short, safe pass play. They pick up a few. Now on second down. They'll keep it on the ground. And maybe he'll get back to the line of scrimmage, but no more than that. Now on third down for this offense. Has the lead. And we've come to the end of the first as we take a moment to check out the stats so far. Now to see if these guys can get back in the game as we open the second quarter. This offense had a little extra time to think about it. Let's see what they have on third down. From the gun, wants to pass. Tight end finds a soft spot. Such a big part to convert these third downs, and they got it at the 42. Looking for a physical attack from the gun. He has the first and still on his feet. Found enough room to get it into enemy territory. They're down at the 43-yard line. To the air on first down. And it's incomplete. If you're going to take a hit like that, you might as well hang on to the ball. Plenty of distance between them and the sticks here on second down. Quarterback on the keeper. Stopped in the backfield. He's going to lose 3 yards on the play. Here comes this home crowd as the defense tries to get off the field on third down. Looking to throw, and he needs a bunch. Puts it out of the air. The defense will converge, and out of bounds he goes at the 40. So they're going to send out the field goal unit to try along with it. This crowd trying to do its part to get inside the kicker's head. 57 yards out, and he powers it through the uprights. And let's check in with Kevin Connors in the studio. Kevin?
Guys, wanted to give you a quick update on a game happening in the Big Ten. Purdue is getting whooped today, and at some point this comes down to preparation. Are you prepared to play? Clearly the answer today is a big fat no. They're trailing by 14 to Wisconsin. Your boy KC has you covered here in studio, guys, in case anything changes in this Big Ten battle.
Oh, and how about that? I know Kevin and those guys will be keeping an eye on it for us. And there was nowhere to go, just stopped in his tracks in the backfield. He leaves it with his back. Gets it out to the 20 after a pickup of 4. Now facing a third and long. From the gun, wants to pass. Got his man downfield. And the explosiveness, the big gainer, gets it to the 49-yard line. You look to be backed up, and then suddenly you're not. Big play has them across the 50, and they'll have it first and 10. Makes the grab.
One of the things you love about this running back is not only can he run between the tackles, but he's also a weapon in this offense, catching the football.
Pulls and fires it complete to the right. He makes the tackle at the 37. It's a pickup of 5. That's good enough for a first down. Wants to keep it in the air. Unloads to the wideout. It's caught downfield. And he's brought down after a nice gain. The Spartans started this drive backed up in their own end, and now they've moved into position to score. And he was fortunate not to lose yardage on that play, able to wedge it back to the line of scrimmage. Back to pass. It's complete to the right. He's close to the first down, but they're going to mark him just a little short. Really need to pick up this conversion and avoid having to settle for the field goal.
The offense just continues to matriculate the ball down the field, and they're finding a lot of different ways to generate these first downs. They do it right there on the quarterback sneak.
Stopped in the backfield. He's going to lose 3 yards on the play. Defense rose up deep in its own end on that last play. Now a second and long coming. Looking to fire. Gets it out quickly. They get it down to the 7 on that pass play in prime position for a score. They'll run it here on third and goal. He's not going to make it. What a job by this defense to stop him in his tracks. And now on fourth down, they'll try a field goal. And this one is perfect. Now up by 7 points here in the second.
And you want a touchdown and you want to be aggressive, but man, right down the middle, that obviously gives me some confidence down the road that I can trust this guy.
So they were able to put up a 3 spot on that last drive, and now the kickoff team out there as they prepare to put boot to leather. And he'll just take a knee, and this drive will start at the 25. No reason to be in a big run. And the defense holds firm. No pickup at all on that play. From the gun, he leaves it with the back. Not much doing there. He gets it to the 26, a gain of 1. Down to 2 minutes to play in the half. The referee's signal for the 2-minute timeout. The noise bouncing off of Sparty's armor as they encourage the green and white on 3rd down. They'll go to the air. Gets rid of it. And they can't make the connection on 3rd down. The Scarlet Knights will send out the punt unit. This will be the 2nd time they've had to kick it away. A high kick. Let's see if he can pin them back deep in their own end. Plenty of time to work, not any time to waste as they take over here in the final 2 minutes of the half. He wants to start this drive with a pass. Quarterback feeling that pressure, and he's knocked down at the 42.
I personally love aggressive defense. I love it. Bringing the strong safety down, blitzing that sucker in there to get the quarterback. Boom. Get that guy on the ground. Nice aggressive play call by the defense.
And the Spartans trying to find their way forward after the big loss on the last play. He's going for a big play downfield. And the pass is incomplete, and there's a penalty flag down, and no big secret why. That receiver was being mauled by the defender.
And the defender just way too handsy on that last play. You could see all the contact as the ball was in the air. He simply can't do it, and the referee's caught it.
This junior making his presence felt and making the stop after a short gain. Picked up 2 yards on that last one. They need 8 on 2nd down. That's caught. It's Darnold. He is going nowhere. Stop at the line of scrimmage. From the gun, they'll try to impose their will. He'll be stopped short of the line to gain. Needed about 3 more on that one. Here comes the field goal unit as they'll try to take the 3. And he's going to have to get into this football. This is a 53-yard attempt. The official says no good. And the margin remains at 7 after the miss.
And sometimes I just feel like 4th down, man. Just go for it every time. Like the field goal miss-make rate. And listen, kickers have improved the last couple of years, but you left some points off the scoreboard there.
Looking downfield on 1st down. He tosses one high and deep down the left side. Pass is incomplete, and that's going to do it for the first half. That's going to wrap up the first half here, and now we join Kevin with the halftime update.
All right, guys, looks like we've got a fascinating one going on in East Lansing. And yes, football is a game of inches, but man, is that really the case when you consider the length of some of these possessions. Look, I'm not an analytics guy, but I do know this. The team that sustains drives and just moves the sticks might be the team that comes out on top today. With that said, let's send it back to the guys at Spartan Stadium.
We're just about ready to start the second half. Fielded in the end zone, it's done. Pulled down at the 18, and the decision to bring it out of the end zone was not a good one. And the Rutgers offense heads back onto the field. They'll open this 3rd quarter with a run. Tried to move that pile forward. He maybe gets 2. He's down at the 21. Got 3 on 1st down at 2nd and 7. Grabbed behind the line. It's Ingram. And the defense had that one well covered. Just a short game there. So what do they have for 3rd and short from their own 23? From the gun, wants to pass. Grabbed over the middle. It's Finley. And the runner is down, and so is a flag. So the big gain, all for naught, brought back due to the laundry on the field, and they'll try it again. On 3rd and long, you'll have to turn it loose deep. on target. He did not make it a stone wall on third down. And the Scarlet Knights will punt it away on fourth down. Makes the signal, secures the fair catch, and they'll put it in play at the 37. The give to the single back. Ball was loose. Once that ball was loose, offense didn't have a chance. Defenders everywhere. It's a turnover.
I love those smashes where you can hear it up here, Reese. Goodness gracious, you can hear the contact. Such a big lick. The offensive guy doesn't hold on to the football. Huge momentum swing. Big turnover forced by the defense.
Rutgers has it back. They'll send the offense back onto the field. And points have been hard to come by in this one. They'll try to put together a drive. Receiver on the move gets the touch pass.
Well, and on these little push passes, timing is so important. You're trying to snap it right as he's getting a full head of steam. When he gets the ball, he's hitting the outside, and David, it puts the defense in such a difficult spot.
You immediately have to be rotating when you see that motion, so everybody's got to communicate and kind of bump over. That's why offenses love to run it. It makes the defense communicate and see if you can just get him out of a spot.
Well, it's a nice play design there. You're getting the running back involved in the pass game. Quarterback gives it to him early so he can go to work upfield and get the first down.
They'll snap it from the 25 here on first down. He'll do it himself. Oh, he's got some space. Gets it past the marker. He goes out of bounds right at the 15-yard line. This offense hasn't found the end zone yet. Starting to move, it's 1st and 10. He's got it and still on his feet. That completion will take it close to the 5-yard line. They'll mark it at the 6. Out of the gun, the running back has it. He's going to lose a yard on that one. They'd love to pick up this third down and get a fresh set with 1st and goal. They'll try to drive ahead on 3rd and short. Absolutely nowhere to go as this defense makes a third down stop. They'll try to cap off this drive with a field goal. This whole play is going to see if this kicker can operate in the sea of noise. Oh, and he missed it. No good. But there is a flag down, and he might get another shot at this one. This could turn out to be a huge penalty. Thought they were going to have to settle for 3, and now the offense back on the field with a chance for more. The snap sets up to throw. He's got him in the flat. Quick throw, but he's not going anywhere. The defense was all over it. Looking for a path to the end zone to the right. Not finding any running room. I think that loss is going to give back what they gained on the previous play, and now it's 3rd down. From the gun, wants to pass. And the pressure was too much. They get him at the 15.
And that is how you get it done. 3rd down is the money down, right? We got to be at our best. How about the monster sack on 3rd down?
And if the kicker can put one through, this will be a successful drive. This crowd trying to do its part to get inside the kicker's head. And this one splits the uprights. That'll bring him to within 4. And for a quick update, let's go to Kevin Connors in the studio.
Interesting showdown in the Pac-12 today, men. Take a look at how things are playing out. The home team is just getting blown off the field right now, and at this rate, I'm not sure it won't get worse. The USC Trojans have been efficient and methodical, building a big lead that may be too much to overcome. They're trailing by 14 to USC. We'll keep you posted on a Pac-12 showdown that, not surprisingly, guys, is already trending.
And how about that one? Kevin will be keeping an eye on everything going on elsewhere. The Spartans can really attack on this 2nd and short. Wants to go up top. A strike downfield. All out of space. It's a fumble. Defense grabs the football, and there he goes.
2 straight drives ending in fundamentals now for this offense. Guys just have to start hanging on to the football. There's nothing schematic that has to change. They've just got to get back to fundamentals, 5 points of pressure, and prioritize holding on to the ball.
And the Rutgers offense heads back onto the field. They haven't really been able to light up this scoreboard, but putting points up would be huge here. And that incomplete pass caused by the big hit on first down. Second down coming. Working well behind the sticks on second down. They think they can create space here with the run to the right. And he never had a chance. Just stopped cold as soon as he got it. On third and long, no secret what he needs here. And the deflection by the defense brings up fourth down. The Scarlet Knights decide to punt it away. Let's see if he can help the coverage team out with this one. This is a spot you see many returners try to take a chance, but not this time. Fair catch just inside the 40. He'll pull it on the read. And he avoids the hit and slides after the short gain. What will they dial up on second and a long way to go? Back to pass. Makes the grab. And the defense makes the immediate tackle, but he has enough for the first down. Passing game kept this drive moving. Let's see if they try it again. The run from the shotgun.
And I kind of like how the running back didn't mess around. Like, just get downhill when you see an opening. A lot of times they close so fast, man. Be decisive, stick your foot in the ground, pick up 3 to 4, and we are not going to complain.
Finds a tight end. And not much doing there as that defense runs him out of bounds. And the Spartans come to the line on third down, trying to keep this drive alive. That's caught. It's darted. Now well within striking distance as that third down play gets him a first at the 29. Use the play fake. Now to throw. And the physical play there forces the incompletion on first down. They're dealing with a second and long. They'll run the option. And he didn't get the pitch off, and he paid the price. Line is set on third down. We've reached the end of the period, and Michigan State has the lead. Let's take a quick look at the national rankings to see how this playoff race is shaping up. Dealing with a deficit like this, it's all about somebody stepping up to make a play, and you might as well start here in the fourth quarter. Looking to move the chains, they throw it complete to the left. He's stopped right at the 29-yard line, and it'll be fourth down. It's good. He hit that one right down the middle. That gives them now a 7-point lead here in the final period.
Well, that's a huge kick right there because now the opponent has to score a touchdown here in the fourth quarter. That put so much pressure on the opponent. Nice job by the special teams going out and executing in a big moment.
From inside his own 10, he'll try to help out their field position. He was looking for more running room, but none to be found as he stopped at the 23. Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. Rutgers has it back. They'll send the offense back onto the field. They'll run it from the gun. That is a big win for this defense as they were right there as soon as he got the ball. On second down, they'll go to the air. Zings it complete to the right. This junior making his presence felt and making the stop after a short gain. Sparty and nearly 75,000 of his closest friends pegging the decibel meter on third down. Flips it out on the screen.
and they get the completion, and they get out of bounds, which is obviously important to stop the clock. But what's really important now is it's fourth down, and that made it more manageable. But obviously, the clock is not as important as making sure you get this fourth down conversion.
He couldn't find much running room there. Didn't get a lot of blocking, and he'll step out of bounds. All right, guys, so here's the offense back on the field again. Unloads quickly. And that corner came in hot despite knowing that he was getting the tailback. And he doesn't find much running room, a short gain on the play. They have it at the 43, third and short, trying to avoid making a decision on fourth down. A quick completion to the left, looking for the first down. He's brought down, but it'll be enough for a first down. Use the play fake, now to throw. Finds his tight end.
This offense is not letting up, guys. They've got a lead here late, and they are still taking shots. They're still looking for explosive plays. This defense just has not had an answer here all game long.
Makes the grab. Good job running that route to get past the sticks because he got nothing after the catch. Wants to throw again. Pressure is effective from the defense. They knock him down just behind the midfield stripe at the 48. The free safety timed his rush perfectly on the blitz, and they come up with the sack.
Yeah, and the free safety usually stays deep and plays coverage, plays in the middle of the field, but they spin him down, bring him in a blitz. You could tell, caught the offense off guard, and he gets the quarterback and gets the sack.
The Spartans have put themselves in dire straits after that last play. It's 2nd and a mile. Hauls it in, and they pick up just a few on that completion. 7th play of the drive coming up, and a long way to go on third down. Looking to throw, and he needs a chunk play. Quickly to the tight end. Ooh, there he goes! And another big game for this offense. They are putting explosive pass after explosive pass up in this one.
Well, this defense has given up some big plays in this game so far, but they've got a lot of talent on that side of the football. Someone has to step up here, make a play, get a stop, and put their team in a position to win.
The throw to the outside is complete. Huge game before he goes out of bounds, and now they've got it 1st and goal. And this offense not only has a chance to extend the lead, but they can also drain that clock. He's looking to throw. He was open, he had it, and he dropped it. Would have been a touchdown. Instead, it's 2nd down. Can the defense stop them again on 2nd and goal? He'll keep it himself. Big time play by the defense. He'll lose 4. It's 3rd and goal and 3rd and long. Motion from the back. Looking for the touchdown on 3rd and goal. Oh, they really could have used that catch there. Physical pass defense. It brings up a 4th down. And now on 4th down, they will put it on the shoulders of the kicker to save them with his foot. Absolutely center cut. And they'll push that lead out a little further.
That's a big drive for this offense in the 4th quarter. Now to take a 2-possession lead, you got the other offense where you want them. Now you get to rush the passer, make them pass a little bit more, and don't give up those big plays. You're in a really good spot now.
That gamble did not pay off as they bring him down at the 12-yard line. And the Rutgers offense heads back onto the field. Fires to the wideout. All kinds of room to throw that one in there. He'll get a fresh set of downs, stopped at the 31-yard line. Wants to go up top on 1st down. And he drops it just a little too slippery in the hands. Try to make up for some of that lost ground on 2nd down. Looking to fire. And the pass is incomplete, jarred loose by the hit. These fans stepping up to help this defense on 3rd down. From From the gun, wants to pass. Quarterback feeling the pressure, and down he goes at the 22. Down by multiple possessions. You can't come up empty on this drive. They'll go for it on 4th down. He lobs one high down the left side. Oh, he dropped it. That deep ball was right on the money. You just have to make that catch. The decision to go for it does not pan out. He's going to lose a yard on that one. Timeout called here by the defense. It's their first of the half. Backed up now. Here's 2nd and long. They'll keep it on the ground. They want this clock to move. Breaks into the open. He gets it inside the 20 and out of bounds at the 17. And the Spartans looking to take advantage of this red zone trip. Trying to move the sticks on 3rd down through the air. He caught it. He stopped just short of the goal line, but they'll have it 1st and goal from the 1. Defense was confused, and the head coach uses a timeout. Tight end in motion, see how the D reacts. Quarterback on the keeper. Defense uses a timeout quickly, trying to get that ball back and preserve time for their offense. After getting knocked back, it's 2nd and goal from the 4. Lets it fly. Touchdown, Spartans! Grab the short pass to put the 6 on the board. They're now in really good shape to get back into the win column as they extend the lead here late. That dude's really big. How in the world did they lose him?
Because down here he does a lot of blocking, and you play a lot of man coverage in the red zone. And what do? Peek in the backfield, and you lose the big thing. I don't know how he lost that big of a guy, but he lost him.
And that extra point is a big one as they now have a 3-possession, 17-point lead in the 4th. Looks as if the returner will try and field this one. And the coverage team able to wrestle him down. Rutgers has it back. They'll send the offense back onto the field. That 4th down gamble didn't pay off on the last drive, and it led to giving up a scoring drive, David.
Yeah, and everybody wants to go for a 4th down. Everybody wants that, but your defense sometimes has to bail out your decision-making. We decided to go for it. We didn't get it. And the defense, Jesse, didn't come up big and prove me right.
Yeah, not complimentary football, no doubt. But look, this offense has been in these situations before. So you got to come back out here, take the field. It's a fresh set of downs, brand new drive. Let's go out and execute, put some points on the board.
Looking to throw on 1st down. He'll loft one deep down the left side. And it falls incomplete, but that could have been disastrous. A defender was right there. Rides to back and leaves it. Runs through a tackle. Still running at the 40. And he'll ramble to the 34 before he's finally knocked down. And the Scarlet Knights racing to the line in the hurry-up.
And he finally breaks one. They get rewarded. They've been trying to run the football, Palmer, but just haven't had success all day.
Yeah, and the staff never gave up on him, too, right? They kept giving him opportunities, and maybe that's the run that starts to open things up here later in this game for this guy.
Wants to fire on 2nd down. Quickly complete. And the defense settled in to stop that one for a short gain. Sprinting to the line to try to get this one off. Clock's running. They'll throw on 3rd and short. They're working that left side. They bring him down, but he's got a 1st and goal from the 10. The Scarlet Knights, once backed up in the shadow of their own goalpost, have put quite a drive together. Wants to throw again. Here's the pressure. And here comes the heat, and they get home, and they get him at the 21. Defense rolls up deep in its own end on that last play. Now a 2nd and long coming. Under fire. He'll pull it down. He's dragged down at the 12 as they try to cash in on this red zone opportunity. And they'll come to the line and try to draw it a little bit closer on 3rd and goal. He'll set up to throw. It falls incomplete. He was trying to find his man for 6. A fourth-quarter field goal down by this much adds a lot like putting a lipstick on the proverbial pig. Doesn't do much to change the looks. Got to score the touchdown on 4th and goal. Oh, he dropped it. He just lost his concentration and didn't look it all the way in. They thought they had a good plan, but it did not work. It creates a little space.
Really nice job stopping the run, but the problem is you have 0 timeouts left. You cannot stop the clock right now if you're the defense, so this has got to be excruciating for them. They know the offense is just going to take their time before they snap the ball.
Not a whole lot of progress made there on the short run. A strong, methodical, workmanlike effort from this team. No frills, just get the job done and get the win.
I love when you describe my teams like that. Just consistent, methodical, strong. I don't have to do things special every single week. All I'm supposed to do is get the W, and that's what they did.
And this is why practice is so important, guys. You can tell that this team was locked in way back earlier in the week. They watched the film. They got good looks in practice. They knew what to anticipate. They knew what looks they were going to see. And when those looks presented themselves, boy, oh boy, did they ever take advantage.
Thanks so much for spending some time with us. For David Pollack and Jesse Palmer, I'm Reese Davis, and this has been another presentation of EA Sports College Football.